Thank you, Steve. Let us know when the recording is.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It's almost ready. Okay, here you go.
All right, thank you. Welcome everybody to our April 21st Sunbury Council meeting. And we'll go ahead and get things opened up with a moment of silent prayer and the pledge. I'll mention that Tim Ghost is not with us this evening, and I know his father is getting his aortic valve replaced this week sometime, and just keep Tim and Tim's dad in your prayers. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God,
indivisible,
and justice for all.
All right, Kathy, if you'll give us a roll call.
Apple,
Here.
St. John.
Here.
Tommy Hatfield,
Here.
Martin Fisher,
Here.
Cindy Cooper,
Here.
Dave Martin.
Here,
6 yeas. Tim Ghost is absent.
All right, thank you. Did everybody get a chance to review the April 7th minutes? I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
second,
Second by Mr. Martin. Discussion on those minutes.
I just saw one teeny tiny clerical error under the police report where it talks about Officer Swick's resignation date being April 20th. It should be 2021, not 201.
I will get it fixed.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? So a motion on the approved, can we have roll call?
Tommy Hatfield,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
yes,
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Abstain.
St. John,
Yes.
Capel.
Yes.
5 yeas, 1 abstention.
All right, that brings us up to the visitor section. Tonight we have one scheduled visitor. It's Mr. Mike Bruning with the Knights of Columbus.
Yes.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Bruning.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate it. So the reason I'm joining your meeting, as he mentioned, I'm with St. John Newman. I'm the Knight or the Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus. And several years ago, I was actually myself and my other brother, Knight Keith Robidoux, we attended one of your council meetings, and we talked about our Measure Up campaign, which we do every year around this time of year. Last year, we suspended it because of COVID, and we've decided that this year we would like to continue our annual Measure Up campaign. And just to kind of let you guys know what that is. So this is a statewide fundraiser that the Knights of Columbus does every year. It's across the state, and every council is a little bit different on how they fundraise. But what it is, it's to benefit the developmentally disabled. So what the Knights do, or we really kind of predetermine what charity or what organization that we want to donate to. In the past, we've donated to the Shane Center, which is up in Centerburg. We've also donated to a couple other organizations that all have to do with the developmentally disabled. Everything that we collect, it's a fundraiser. Everything we collect goes straight to whatever organization we decide that we're going to donate to. And how we how we organize the fundraiser is we typically stand, or the Brother Knights stand on the street corners. And in this case, we've done the street corners of Miller and 3637 and Miller at 33, up Route 3. So on each of those corners. And we've also done the drive-through of Tim Hortons. So what we do is we stand there with buckets, and it's not a aggressive campaign or anything. We just stand there. We have yellow vests. We have signage, plenty of signage that tells people what we're doing, what we're collecting for. And we stand there with yellow vests. And it's the dates of the campaign this year are Friday night, April 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. and Saturday, May 1st. And we'll typically start around 6 a.m. and typically go till about noon. And so we did decide this year we're going to do things a little bit differently. Typically, we do hand out like a ruler and some candy for kids and things like that. This year, we're going to all wear masks. We're going to all wear gloves. There's going to be no contact. And we'll have the donors, if they donate, they'll put it directly into the bucket so there won't be any contact. I'm trying to think what else I can tell you about it. We typically hand out like a ruler and candy, but we're not going to hand out anything this year. So again, we just want to make sure that we're coming to you as the council to make sure that you don't have any issues with it. We also want to make sure that the police are aware of what we're doing so they can kind of look out and see, look out for us and so forth. Again, we have plenty of signage and we have the yellow vests. So we make sure that we're very well seen, I should say. So do you have any questions?
No, but I might have a suggestion. Have you guys looked into doing any QR codes? I know one thing that I don't drive around with a lot of cash.
Mhm.
And that would truly make it no contact. If there was something like, even if you put it on a sign in the area or on your bucket or something, somebody could scan the QR code to donate to your cause. Maybe a suggestion more than a
suggestion. I am not very technologically advanced, but if we could figure out how to do that, I can certainly bring that up to the members and see if that's a possibility. But that's a very good suggestion. I mean, that would take it to another level. Absolutely. And I know a lot of people, and it's interesting you said that, because that's one of our concerns, is that you're right. People don't carry around too much cash right now. I know I personally haven't been to an ATM in a long time because I'm working from home, and I tend to use credit cards now. So that's a concern of ours, that I don't think people are going to carry as much cash as they typically do. So it certainly would be a good alternative.
I would like to ask Mr. Bream to weigh in on this, because I thought the village passed an ordinance years ago against collecting money from moving vehicles in intersections.
While he's looking, we can check into that. I'm unaware. I know that we obviously would have to look into that. It's not something I don't think you're going to pull off the top of your head. I know we did this, as Mike said, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, I can remember recent.
Yeah, it's been probably that's probably a good estimate. It's probably about 4 years ago, 5 years ago that we were there, and we've done it every year with the exception of last year.
Okay. So if it is, it's something we allowed them to do, but I guess at this point we can. I don't know, Dave. I don't want to speak for you, but I didn't think you could really weigh in.
I don't know, Dave. I'm not aware of that. I'll look. I know we did it at 4th of July with the fire. They did it for fireworks for the chamber. That's been a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I know, like they said, we've done it here. We've allowed people to do it in the past. So I'll look.
I don't know if it even passed it, but I do remember an ordinance coming up that way several years ago. And I don't remember if the ordinance passed or not, or maybe it was just a topic of discussion, but and I'm not against them doing this. I just want us to be sure we're doing it within our own rules and regulations.
Dave, the only thing I can remember seeing is on panhandling. I don't think I don't think it covers anything for what they're wanting to do, but I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing that.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
my memory isn't as what it used to be, but I do recall a discussion at the council level that was specific to an organization that wanted to come in and do some canning. And we put some, as I recall, we put some restrictions upon where they could go and what they could do. But it was not, as I recall, it was not an ordinance. It was specific to their request.
Okay. Thank you. And so we'll go ahead and any other questions for Mike at this point. But if there's something we come across, the date on which you were wanting to do this again?
It's April 30th, which is Friday evening, and then Saturday, May 1st in the morning.
Okay.
So I think I found the ordinance that Dave is talking about. It's 37106, use of highway for soliciting. It says, except as authorized, no person shall stand on a highway for the purpose of soliciting employment, business, or contributions from the occupant of any vehicle. B2, which is the exception, says council by ordinance may authorize the issuance of a permit to a charitable organization to allow a person acting on behalf of the organization to solicit charitable contributions from the occupant of a vehicle by standing on the highway other than a freeway, as provided in ORC 4511-051A, that is under the jurisdiction of the municipality. The permit shall be valid for 1 year or time which shall be specified in the permit in any calendar year. Council also may specify the locations where contributions may be solicited and may impose any other restrictions regarding on or the requirements regarding the manner in which the solicitations are to be conducted as council considers as advisable. Charitable organizations being any organization that has received the IRS 501c3. And you're looking to do this before our next council meeting.
Correct.
Correct.
So is that date set in stone, or can that date be moved back? Because it looks like we have to pass an ordinance to allow you to do it, even though you're charitable. And I
Yeah.
don't know if that wasn't done in the past. It just probably wasn't brought up. And it doesn't look like this was a local ordinance. It looks like it was it's a codification of revised code section.
The Knights of Columbus on the state level sets the dates, and I know May 1st or that weekend is the last date that they have designated. I can certainly go back to our district deputy. I mean, obviously, I certainly don't want to do anything against the ordinance that you guys have in place, and I can certainly go back and see if there's some exceptions to that rule and push it back a little bit if we need to.
Okay. And Dave, when you said that was codified, so I'm assuming, and you said it wasn't local to Sunbury, so that would be anybody that hadn't changed that.
It's 37106 in our codified ordinances. I don't see a local ordinance afterwards. It references Ohio Revised Code 4511-051A.
So is this something that would be voted on formally through the council and issued through the council then? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, you're at council right now. So this
Yeah,
body
yeah.
would have an ordinance and they would vote and approve it.
Okay,
And we could have had that potentially for tonight, but we didn't know that
okay,
we needed it. So I mean,
Okay.
we could do it for the next meeting, but the next meeting isn't until the first Wednesday in May.
okay. So that's gonna be the 4th of May then.
Correct.
Okay,
If you could get it extended a week, we could probably accommodate you for that,
uh-huh,
for that weekend or any weekend subsequent to the first Wednesday in May.
yeah. And as you said, once we get that, it's not that we're gonna need it, but it's good for 12
1
months
year.
for
Yeah,
1 year.
1 year.
Okay. All
Hey,
right.
will we have enough people to pass as an emergency on that meeting?
Yep.
As of right now, we do. Yeah, we have 5 that will be here.
Okay. I will, well, it's not a matter of whether we can get extended or not. It's obviously we can't do it until we have that permit. So it's either we don't do it at all or we get it extended. So I will certainly work on that from my end. If you guys would, if that would be great, if you could add it to the agenda for the next meeting.
Mike, the only thing I would suggest also just as a backup, obviously you don't have to have it for Tim Hortons. And, I don't know that, you might be able to talk to McDonald's or Wendy's and Kroger's and do something, inside their parking lots. And
yeah, that's a good point. We actually, before we were on the street corners, again, this is going back several years. We've always done Tim Hortons, CVS right there. We had done CVS for quite a few years. Kroger had their corporate had come down that the only organization that they really allow is Girl Scouts. So they don't allow us to do in front of Kroger anymore. But there's several other businesses around there we talked about maybe doing it through them. But that's a good point.
yeah, there's, you could go over to Washington, the big one at Plaza.
Yeah, and that's a St. John Newman parishioner. So
There you go. So, and maybe even something offsite at Kroger's, but still there, like Taco Bell or.
yeah, and I've
Anyway,
already
I just want.
yeah, but I've already talked to Tim Hortons and I talked to their general manager and they're fine with that date. They're fine with us going through the drive-through as we have in the past. So it's an option. I would still like to get the permit if possible. Okay. Just in case, we do push it back. So is there something else that I need to do formally to ensure that it's done, or do I need to submit anything? Do I need to?
No,
I would like to make a motion asking Mr. Bream to prepare the language and with emergency language attached to it for approval of this ordinance.
Okay.
So that's what you'd need to do, and we'll get the wheel in motion. And if you want to circle back with Alan or Kathy, next week and follow up with us, we'll plan on putting that together at minimum for the first meeting in May.
Okay.
And let us know if you do something, a different alternative where you end up doing it on those days in private.
Okay. So who should I email and follow up with? Because June is the one that I've been emailing with.
Okay, well then just.
You can email me. I have your email from the Zoom, Mike, so I'll go ahead and send you email and then you can send one back to me.
Perfect. Okay, that'd be perfect. So yeah, so I'll follow up with you guys next week and let you guys know what we've decided, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Well, thank you, and apologize for the confusion, but.
Oh, you're fine. I appreciate that's why I brought it up to the council. I wanted to make sure that I didn't want to do anything that was against any rules or regulations. And
well, that's Dave Martin. He's a real stickler for those kind of things, and comes down hard
I
on
appreciate it.
so.
But you do have a motion. You need a second and a vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was able to just do that as a council person. Okay, so Dave Martin.
He made it as a motion, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Dave Martin made a motion to authorize Mr. Breen to prepare an ordinance to create a permit for charitable contributions in the streets here in Sunbury. And do we have a
Second.
second by Mr. Capel? Discussion? Roll call?
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Capel,
Yes.
St. John,
Yes.
Hatfield,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Pickshade.
Thank you. Thank you again. Good luck.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You guys all have a good evening. And
All right, thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is committee reports. And I'm going to only had one. There might be other updates, but I'll go ahead and start with Mr. St. John on the Finance Committee.
Did have a finance committee meeting earlier this evening. One thing that we looked at was expense and revenue trends compared to forecast. So we are slightly under forecast on our biggest line item, which is income tax. We expect that is related to the delayed tax filing date, and expect to catch back up near June. Other items that we discussed were impact fees, and we took a lesson from Ms. Belcher on how impact fees work in terms of days or dates received versus when dates needed to be expended. And we appreciated her insight on that. Thank you for the condensed report, Ms. Belcher. Very helpful. That's all I have.
All right, thanks, Joe. Mr. Capel,
I do not have a report tonight.
Mr. Martin.
No committee report.
All right, just picking on 501Cs. Mr. Fisher.
Nothing to report, sir. Thank you.
Mrs. Cooper.
Nothing to report, sir.
Thank you. And I honestly, I can't believe you pulled that out of your brain. Of that was.
Well, just a little history. Years ago, somewhere in Ohio, a little league baseball team or a Boy Scout troop or somebody was collecting money on a street corner, and the kids were running out in front of cars. And that's when that law was originally passed, and then Sunbury adopted it as one of the codified ordinances related to that. I remember it, but it clicked with me when he started talking. That's why I brought it up.
Like I said, I can't remember. I don't remember that one, but good call. All right, brings us up to police report. I know you don't have a report this evening, but or at least on file here. But Chief, what do you got?
No, don't really have anything. Won't have a report until the May 5th meeting.
All right.
I will let you know though, we just had grandson number 13 tonight. So
Wow.
it's been
All
busy.
right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You probably need to go to bed. I mean, 13.
Well, mom and them did all the work. It's just I'm just thinking about Christmas this year is really going to be worse.
I got to work 2 more years. That's
All right, thank you. Mr. Parkins. Oh, no, sorry. Got ahead of myself there. Mr. Rothermill.
Oof, you scared me there, Tommy. Just a couple of quick updates. Town hall update. I believe the outdoor spotlights are functional now. They've gotten all the glitches out, and we're ready to go there. They do a great job when they're working, and it really shows off the outside of town hall. With respect to the inside of town hall, if you happen to go over there, all the carpet has been removed, and the next step will be to June's meeting with the carpet installers tomorrow, and they're gonna kind of do the final scoping of it, and then it's on order and sitting in the warehouse. They hope to have it installed in the next 3 weeks. So we're making some real inroads there as well. Just a quick weather update. We had a snowstorm that of really no consequence. We had a couple guys come in early. They were monitoring the situation, and it was snowing hard for a while, but it never really made any accumulation on the street surfaces. It did a number. It was very pretty. A lot of flocked trees, but and a number of downed branches, mostly the smaller ornamentals that are already in bloom. And we got a lot of those kinds of things cleaned up off of driveways and the like. And then the only other thing that we kind of mentioned earlier at the Finance Committee meeting was the fact that this should be the last time that we put that we stream our meetings on either Facebook or YouTube. Starting the May 5th meeting, we will go directly on our website using Civic Plus, and all our meetings will then be streamed on right off our website. That's all I got.
Great. And so people will just go to sunburyohio.org and be able to view
Yeah, there'll be some boxes and things, and we'll have June probably put some information on Facebook and the like to orient people on where to click and that kind of thing. But it should be very, very simple and easier to use and really easier to access old prior meetings and prior minutes and things like that. It'll be just a much better forum in which to put that medium on. It'll be right on the website.
All right, thank you, Alan. Any questions for Mr. Rothermel?
I just had two things. One on the town hall renovations. I've been staying in contact with Alan in June, and I believe June's following up on our technology upgrades for the third floor. I know it's probably been a month and a half or so since we last talked about potentially going back to in-person meetings. Still some things I would say governmentally or at the macro level that need to improve before we could or should do that. But some of the steps that we need to do ahead of time would be looking at those technology upgrades, or at least making sure we've got an inventory of everybody's technology capability in terms of like mobile and streaming and things like that. So I believe we're waiting on some information. If I'm not correct, Mr. Rothermel, please correct me on the Edge quote and what we're doing.
Yeah, we're hoping to get that information yet this week. Edge had indicated on Monday that they were one short quote away from having everything ready to go and reviewing that with us. And then at that point, there really shouldn't be any reason other than ordering everything and getting it installed. And we're hopeful that we'll be very close to that June date.
Okay. And then the last thing I had, didn't mean to catch you off guard on this, but every time I drive by it, I don't want to text and drive, email and drive. And but the General Rosecrans Park, there's actually a sign on the very south end of this General Rosecrans Elementary property. That sign is about to fall down. I believe it's our sign, just due to it looks like our entrance into Sunbury signs. It's kind of the painted brick red sign. That sign's about to go down. It's surprised it's still standing. It's been leaning for quite a while. So if Brad could take a look at it, if for some reason it's not our responsibility, if you could coordinate with the schools to get it,
sure,
fixed
No,
up.
that's our sign. That's one that was made by the high school in the CNC machine, and so we would be responsible for fixing or replacing.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll get Brad on that. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Anything else for Alan? All right, Mr. Parkinson, you're up. Engineers report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll hit the highlights real quick. The Little Walnut Creek Interceptor Sewer is still plugging along. We're waiting for structures. As soon as we get structures, we'll start getting messy and digging big trenches and putting the thing together. The reservoirs project is coming together. We finally have a plan on how to get that thing across the finish line. I believe there are a couple of items on your agenda this evening regarding those contracts with Facemeyer. The West Cherry Street turn lane is still under construction. We've been requested to get a price from the contractor to install something a little more permanent for the median instead of the reboundable markers, and we're working with them to get some pricing from them. I have not seen that back yet. The Fallen Heroes Trail Phase 2 is progressing. I reviewed the 75% plans today, returned my comments to the design team. We'll be having a progress meeting on Friday morning where we'll tee the thing up to get it to the finish line, and we'll present it to the administration and council and get ready to bid it out upon your concurrence as well. The facility plan update and the 2021 wastewater treatment plant improvements continue to progress. The design team for that, those projects met with Dale yesterday. I had not been briefed on how those conversations went. They were to discuss with Dale their preliminary plans for the additional sludge drying beds and the sludge transfer pumping facilities. And with Dale's concurrence, they'll move forward with those. I've been pressing to get something out of them a little more tangible. And I hope by the next council meeting, I will be able to share with council and the administration maybe some draft plans and things of that nature on where we are on both of those. So that's my goal, to press that out of the team. The grant application for the Reservoirs Park, the Nature Works grant application through ODNR. It's due on June 1st, and we're making progress on that. There will need to be a resolution from council authorizing the submittal of the application. And we expect to have that for your consideration at your first meeting in May. It will need to be passed by your second meeting in May so that we can include it in the application. We submitted the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund application to Ohio EPA last month. We have not heard back from them. They've not asked for additional information or had any questions for us. I'm not quite sure where that stands at the moment. We'll let it cook a little longer, and toward the end of the month, if I haven't heard anything back, I'll reach back out to EPA and see how that's progressing. We're still working on the 2021 street program. That's in my lap, and I need to get some attention to it, but we need to finalize the streets that we're going to do and the improvements we're going to make, and present that to council for concurrence before we go to bid. Just this morning, we received the revised plans for Magnolia Park. I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. That's on my list to do in the next week or so. So perhaps by our next meeting, I'll have a little more concrete update on that. The Rolling Hills project, we submitted comments to the engineer. We have had some communications with them regarding some issues that they have with their project. We have not received revised plans yet. We're waiting for those. Just so you know, I've been getting a lot of interest in information regarding the price development from engineers, I think, working on the price project, traffic studies, stormwater studies, requests for record plans, et cetera, et cetera. So there's seems to be a lot of activity and interest in the price development at the moment. I'm also getting almost as much interest in information requests for the multifamily and commercial proposed development on West Granville Street. Again, same type of information, utilities, record plans, stormwater studies, things of that nature that they can blend into their development. Don't have a lot under construction right now in Sunbury. Sunbury Meadows 16 is progressing. The schools are still moving toward their completion at the end of the year. And I do believe that the office medical building there behind Wendy's on North Miller Drive is starting to make some progress as well. So that's my report. If you have any question, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
Just curious about your choice of words. The sewer line is plugging along.
Plugging?
Yeah.
It's moving forward in a slow manner.
Okay.
You can't build a sewer system without manholes. And until we get the manholes delivered, there's not much they can do right now. There's going to come a time where we can't blame COVID anymore. But the blame has been put on COVID that the company that our contractor had secured to provide the structures told him a couple of weeks ago they can't make the structures locally. So they're going to have to go find another factory somewhere in America that can build the structures and get them delivered. And I have not heard if that's been resolved, but it's really not my problem at the moment. their clock is ticking, and they have a deadline, and this is part of it. So
You might let them know we've got several of those around town that are made of brick.
we'll just take
It's
them
still
out one brick at a time, right? I've been doing some work up in Akron lately as well, and working on 90-year-old brick sewers. It's pretty amazing what they did back then. Well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anything else for Dave? All right, we'll keep moving along here. That takes us, we have no resolutions this evening. When you get to ordinances, 2021.13 is still tabled. Probably will be ready potentially the first meeting in May. We have a second reading on ordinance 2021.18, an ordinance approving the final plat for Sunbury Meadows 16 and declaring an emergency. Mr. Parkinson, is that one?
We have, Mr. Bream and I have been working on the language that we think is appropriate to add to this plat. We are 99% of the way there. And as soon as we get it, we'll forward it to the engineer and have it incorporated into the plat. It is not ready to be voted on this evening. It will be ready for your first meeting in May.
Okay. We have a first reading ordinance 2021-19, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a contract with Facemeyer Landscaping LLC for construction of a pedestrian trail adjacent to the upground reservoirs and all necessary appurtenances, waiving formal bidding pursuant to section 9.02C of the Sunbury Charter and declaring an emergency. This one we're not needing to approve this evening, so this is just the first reading. Mr. Bream.
Yeah, I can speak to that, and then Dave Parkins can fill in where I might miss. But we've had a project that was bid out and let to Facemeyer some time ago for an emergency outlet to our reservoirs for draining them in a water event or in the event that they have some type of problem, failure. This is kind of a fallout from the Buckeye Lake matter a few years back. They really got aggressive on upground reservoirs and any type of earthen withholding of water. They wanted to make sure that everybody had proper safety protocols, emergency procedures, and ways to lower water levels, drain water levels in case they needed to be. So we had a project prepared. Facemeyer's bid it, were the low bidder. When they went to do the project, they found that there was an issue with the engineering and exactly how the site laid out in the field conditions as opposed to what the engineers thought were the field conditions. That subsequently has led us to revise those plans. The good news is we came up with a different alternative plan that saved us a bunch of money. The bad news is if you're Cameron Facemeyer, who's a local contractor, had actually do a bunch of work, and now because he work primarily because the plans we had this discrepancy in them, potentially he's stuck having committed workforce, resources, having, equipment and all that type of thing, those things set aside for this job. And then potentially we're going to do a negative change order to that job of roughly 2/3 of it. So the discussions, were had, what else could we have you do while you're here to basically substitute for the fact that you can't do what you were contracted to do. That's when the discussion about continuing our work on that site, that is, the reservoirs are the former water supply for Sunbury. That's where our water plant was. When we sold to Delco, 15, 16 years ago, Dave, this is your night, so I'm just going to let you keep swinging.
Well, it was 2005, so that'd be 16 years ago.
So, when we sold to Delco, really, the whole facility changed in character. We retained about 500,000 from that utility, and we've been in the process of dealing with that over the past 15 years, including demolition of the plant, looking at the pumps, looking again making it compatible with the state and the above ground requirements as far as emergencies and so forth. There's always been discussion about making that a more usable park feature. Right now, it's primarily for fishing, but there's been discussions about putting a walking path around the tops of the reservoirs. This would contract with Face Myers to do it. They could do it at the same time they're out doing the other project. Their equipment's there. This basically substitutes for the work that they would have done under the first project, but it is a separate project, so we're bidding it separately. There will be a change order to the first project that reduces the scope of the first project significantly. And this is a new ordinance for a separate project for the walking paths that will be on top of the reservoirs. This is a first reading tonight. We don't expect you to vote on it tonight, but we would like you to consider voting on it at your next meeting, first meeting in May. Again, we're excited about this. We're also, I think there's in the works pursuing grant funding for more stuff up there. If you've ever been up there and gone fishing with your kids, it's beautiful up there. It really is. It is a unique feature. There was discussions about what do we do with it. And at that time it was, gosh, it sure would be nice to keep it. It's a great park feature. We've got the ability to have parking. We own ground across the street. We own ground adjacent to it. Potentially someday the street department may need to relocate. There's not a lot of room to expand there necessarily on that side of the road. So a lot of things going on out there, but this would provide a paved pedestrian trail. This would not be for bikes. It would be for pedestrians. We have contacted our insurer. Our coverage does extend to that. So we feel like we're in good shape and we're excited to bring this forward to you. But it won't be, this is the first reading tonight. The next reading would be at your next meeting.
Thank you, Dave. We had to pull the bike piece because Joe St. John was talking about jumping the reservoirs already, and we couldn't have any Evel Knievel flashbacks. So, all right, that brings us to unfinished business. We'll start with Mr. Fisher. Do you have any unfinished business?
I'm good. I don't have any.
Mrs. Cooper.
Nothing tonight. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Capel.
No unfinished business.
Mr. Martin.
Not this evening.
Mr. St. John.
Just working off a clean slate.
All right, that brings us to new business, and I'll just go ahead and start with you, Joe. New business.
No new. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Martin.
Nope.
Mr. Capel.
Nothing here.
Mrs. Cooper.
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Fisher.
Nothing here. Thank you.
All right, we have, we talked about in finance, so we have a purchase order 34660 for $90,095.67. And this is to, for OPWC loan CQ38B 2018 street improvement. And we talked about that. Kathy's trying to get us lined up so that each year that we take a loan, we pay a loan off on the previous year's grant opportunities.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. St. John, a second by Mr. Martin. Discussion. Could be the very fastest motion and second ever. Roll call.
St. John,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Hatfield,
Yes.
Capel,
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right. One last piece of new business. I sent an email around Friday that I wanted to go ahead and read into the record this evening. Just says, Dear Council, President, Council, and staff, I am writing to inform you of my intention to resign as mayor effective Friday, April 30th, 2021. I truly appreciate the experience of serving the residents of Sunbury since 2006. I feel blessed to have played a small part in the town where I've raised my family and loved for so many years. The experiences, the people, the challenges, and the opportunities will be with me forever, and I will always be proud of what we accomplished. I've enjoyed working with each of you and wish you continued success. And if there's any way I can help ease in the transition, please let me know. I do mean that, the people, not only the residents, but you all, it's been a great ride. It's never easy to do something like this, but it just was, with my current job, I always said that I would never hang around when I couldn't do everything that needed to be done. And so I need to focus on my family and my job right now. Everything's fine. I've had a couple people reach out to me about my daughter or my family. Everybody's health is fine. We're in no troubles here at the Hatfield House, just looking at retirement and needing some things to do with my job that, like I said, never makes it easy, but I just something I needed to do so I could focus on that. Hope that I can work with y'all sometime in the future, whether that's Little League or church or whatever, but I look forward to still being active in the community. So having said that, that was just something we wanted to read into the record. I know that you all knew that from an email that I sent Friday. But appreciate it. And from there, I don't know if there's any questions from a transitionary standpoint about what needs to take place, but I know Dave is ready to answer those.
So that does create a situation where your president pro tem, which is Councilperson St. John, by your charter, effective May the 1st, would, assuming he's willing to accept, would step into the shoes as the mayor. Because you are, Tommy, you're in the second year of your 4-year term, correct?
Yeah, it feels like the third, but yes, second.
So the way the charter reads, and Mrs. Cooper knows this all too well, when at the beginning of a term, you serve for the duration of the year. You have to run in August. So assuming Joe is willing to serve, he would serve through the balance of this year. He could run for the mayor's position in November if he chooses to do so, to be beyond this year. You will need to, this body will have to appoint this will leave you with a vacancy on council if Joe becomes the mayor and accepts it. And you would have to fill that vacancy. Council has 30 days to do that from the date of the vacancy, and you could extend it for another 30 days if you need to. So we would, reconvene about that issue on May the 4th. Tonight, I think we need a motion and a second to accept the resignation effective April the 30th.
I'd like to make that motion.
Motion by Mr. St. John to accept my resignation.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Fisher. He couldn't wait to do that, I could tell.
Nobody else was stepping up, so come on.
Well, there was a lot of hand raisers. I saw Dave Martin go for the screen. Cindy was
But I want to
Discussion.
know, will it cause any problems if I vote no, because I don't want you to leave?
Don't make me find you at your undisclosed location. Any other discussion?
Just briefly, I'd like to say I've been doing this since 1998. That's 23 years. I grew up here, and I'm 50, almost 55. So everybody here knows how time flies by, and 23 years has gone by quickly. But I've only had 2 mayors I've ever had to report to. A lot of council people, more than I could probably count. I'd probably be hard pressed to write them all down if I tried. But only 2 mayors, and they've both been great people, first of all. And that's really made this job enjoyable for me, because I probably interact with the mayor and the administrator as much as anybody. been a lot of administrators, all good people too, but really stellar mayors. And I don't know how long have you done it, Tommy? How long were you mayor?
I was able to figure out I've been doing this council and mayor, but it's only been 16 years. This would be it'd be 10 years I will have completed as mayor, so 10 and a half.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 9 and a half, can't add.
You're in your 10th year as mayor.
Yeah, thank you.
So I don't know what that works out to be, but if you're looking at least 2 council meetings a month, that's 24 a year. That's 240 council meetings. That's ever many phone calls, how many emails. I mean, that's really a big piece of somebody's life when they commit to something like this. And I know that I will say this, Tommy's been as dedicated to serving this community as anybody I've ever seen in public service since I've been here. Really just going above and beyond, absolutely spending a ton of time at it. And, you know, this whole community is really lucky to have had him for the time we've had him in that position. So
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you from me.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't enjoy it. And like I said, I hope to be engaged in a lot of different places. So, and if you ever need any help other than to be on a committee, no, give me a call.
There's a charter review coming up in a couple years, so.
There is.
I'm the wrong guy for that job, but
We got a tree commission with volunteer members.
there you go. I'm in on that.
We do need some people for BZA.
All right, so we need a roll call.
St. John,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Hatfield,
Yes.
Cap,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
6 yeas.
And thank you again, but it's time to go, guys. So
I've got just one more thing. I guess publicly for the record, Joe, have you made a decision about your willingness to accept the mayoral position starting May the 1st? I do think because we don't have a council meeting between now and then, we need to get that on the record one way or the other.
I do plan to accept, and I'm humbled and thankful also for Tommy, mentoring me, whether he knew he was doing it or not, and big shoes to fill for sure. Yes, I do.
So what do we do process-wise as far as filling Joe's seat on council?
You've got
Same
30
thing.
days, Dave. It's just like it's a vacant council seat. We've had them in the past. This is really no different because of people retiring or moving out of the community or whatever. So you've got 30 days. You need to think about some people, persons, and then we would, go through our normal process.
Okay.
And we can go ahead and get that vacancy posted on the website and get applications in and so forth. I will plan on swearing Joe in on May the 1st. It doesn't have to be in a meeting, but I'll swear him in as your mayor. So he'll be able to act effective May the 1st if need be. You will also need to, at your first council meeting in May, ideally you need to elect a new president pro tem, just in case Joe decides he's next. But you'll need to do that, and then we'll start looking for a replacement for that vacant council seat. So
there you go. And Joe will be busy on the 2nd. I'm going to get my wedding vows renewed, talk about a couple of street potholes that need to be repaired, and I'm going to put a list together. Anybody needs anything, give me a call and I'll add.
How is this going to affect cinnamon rolls and breakfast on Thanksgiving?
You've been cut off. There'll be twice as many now, so we'll have
Oh, okay.
Christmas in July. All right, roll call.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Hatfield,
Yes.
St. John,
Yes.
Capel,
Yes.
6 yeas.
Y'all have a good evening. I think we're done, right?
Did we do a motion to adjourn? Maybe I missed that.
I
Or did we
think
just
maybe
take the
I
roll
rolled-
call?
I think we just
for no
roll called
motion.
it.
Okay,
I
well, that was a
I was
good
just wondering
practice
that
run.
too.
I was as we were doing it, but you know, I wanted to go out the same way every other meeting went.
Do you want a motion and a vote to go with that roll call?
Yeah, how about a motion to adjourn? I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
We are seconded.
Who did Capel second it?
Yes.
Full.
No, Mr. Fisher down at the bottom.
Just had to mix us up one last time.
I
One
know.
last time.
Yeah. Well, I only do that when I talk to Dave Martin first. I always mess up Martin Fisher. It's never been
I
a
know.
Fisher. All right. Roll call.
We already did.
I
Well,
know.
do you want me to do it again, seriously?
Yeah, let's do it
Okay.
right.
Hatfield,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
St. John,
Yes.
Capel.
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right. Goodbye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Good
Thank you.
night.